Welcome back from that short break. You're still watching New Vision TV News with me, Ruth Nasejo. We now take a look at what's making news in business.
In business today, in a bid to curb the high unemployment rate in the country, young entrepreneurs have been tipped on value for money and creating investments. For this to be achieved, the Entrepreneurship Clinic and the Aga Khan schools organized an entrepreneurship grand open house competition. Junior and high school student winners were awarded 5 million Uganda shillings. The budding entrepreneurs were tasked to develop business ideas and invest in them. Fred Tukahira, Principal Aga Khan Education Services, says the introduction of entrepreneurship subjects in practical skills at an early age instills entrepreneurship skills to help students in future.
This is an important skill because we want children to be entrepreneurs. We are aware that there is a very big problem of youth unemployment, that in Uganda, for example, 65% of the youth are unemployed, and therefore the school, we don't want to teach children who would join that group and actually add up to the number. We would rather we start working with these children at a very young age so that they start thinking entrepreneurship.
He adds that no matter the profession children want to pursue, they require business management skills. This, he says, will inspire them to become better thinkers and problem solvers.
These professions also are run as businesses. You look at lawyers who have law firms, that's also a business. So can children who become lawyers in the future also know how to run their own law firms as businesses?
Over 60 groups joined the competition, including fashion and design, baking and cookery, interior design, restaurants and cafes, among others. Sarah Mirembe, a Senior 3 student, Malt God Limited Recycling and Bottling Project, says that they joined the competition to change people's mindset about different entrepreneurial projects, such as recycling waste.
Look at these boards, you think they're for alcohol, but we want to change that mentality and change these boards into something that can benefit us all in our homes.
With the youth unemployment rate at between 60 to 80%, fashion experts and design enthusiasts have said the fashion industry is capable of absorbing the unemployed, especially those with passion, once the government invests in it. They pointed out countries such as Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa that have invested money in the fashion industry, which has since created tens of thousands of jobs for the population. Santa Anzo, a Ugandan model, fashionista and fashion designer, said the fashion industry has for long been neglected by the government, yet it has the ability to employ a lot of people such as designers, models, makeup artists, among others. This was during the Uganda International Fashion Week Symposium at Serena Hotel. Santa Anzo said the Prime Minister Ruhakana Rugunda recently said the government will come up with a strategy to develop the fashion industry. Quoting the African Development Bank statistics, she said, "The fashion and design market has more than 31 million euros, which must be tapped into."
Away from the news in business, we now take a look at our Daily Pearl of Africa series. Today it is Sempaya Hot Springs. The Sempaya Hot Springs are found in Semiliki National Park. These comprise of the male and the female hot spring. The rate at which they boil is more than the hot springs found in Chitagata. Unlike Chitagata hot springs, where many residents enjoy a cold bath, one cannot do the same here, but instead cook food from the ever-boiling water. Let's take a look. Sempaya Hot Springs are located in Bwamba County, one of the remote parts of Bundubujo district in western Uganda. There are two hot springs differentiated by sex. One is male and the other is female. The male spring is known as Bitente, while the female spring is called Nyansimbi, which means female ancestors. The female hot spring is said to boil up to 103 degrees Celsius. The water is always bubbling up because of the high temperature, and people cook food from it. The hot springs have also tremendously attracted a great number of tourists in Uganda. A 30-minute walk via the palm forest from the main road leads one to the inner female hot spring. Here, eggs and bananas can be cooked instantly for consumption by the hungry hikers in the blistering waters. Scientifically, hot springs are spiral-formed by an appearance of geothermal, which heats underground water from the Earth's layer. Hot springs are made by cracks spreading deep towards the exceptionally hot temperatures of the earth layer, and water trickling down is heated and enforced back up with much pressure to produce the bubbles. For more pile of Africa stories, visit our website, which is newvision.co.ug/Pile of Africa. Our newspaper, The Sunday Vision, is also another home of adventures. Grab your copy every Sunday for Pile of Africa stories. We now move on to our special report today. No leader has surpassed ex-President Idi Amin in wrecking a national economy in independent Africa's history. Uganda's once vibrant economy was brought to its knees in the second year of Amin's president that lasted 8 years. Even today, 40 years after his departure, the damage he did to the economy has not been fully undone, as New Vision TV explains. Before 1971, Uganda had one of the most prosperous economies in Africa and was better off than many countries of the world because of the better equitable income distribution, meaning there was no extremely poor people in the country. The country was neither socialist nor capitalist.
And truly exercise.
Then in August 1972, President Idi Amin, while in Tororo, announced that he had a dream in which the Almighty God had instructed him to Africanize the economy. Consequently, he gave the Indian people who had been playing a key role in the trade and industry 90 days to quit Uganda. By the end of November, over 95% of the Asians had left the country, as did the Europeans and other non-black people in business and other professions. A few months later, after all the economic units from small shops to large factories had been turned over to the regime's supporters, shortages of essential commodities started to bite. Sugar and soap became luxuries, prices skyrocketed, and the black market flourished. Industrial production started falling as the new managers did not even know how to find spares or even consumable inputs. By 1974, industrial production was virtually finished. The shilling was nearly collapsing, and foreign exchange was sold on the black market at several times the price at the central bank. Smuggling of consumer goods into the country was at its peak, but in the mid-70s, smuggling of coffee out of Uganda reached a climax due to the frost that hit the crop in Brazil, the leading producer of coffee worldwide. Despite a windfall, Uganda never benefited, and it is Kenyan businesses that exported Uganda's smuggled coffee that prospered. By 1979, there was hardly anything useful in the shops. A walk through Jinja, which had been an industrial town, revealed rotting factories and closed warehouses. The shops that had once been packed had empty shelves. So had clusters of matoke, sweet bananas, and banana leaves. These were more of markets than shops. Luxury goods were also in supply in the high streets in Kampala for the ruling class. After the fall of Amin, the subsequent governments struggled with different economic policies to revive the economy, but with little successes.
I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
Finally, when the NRM assumed power after 1986, they moved to correct some of the wrongs, including returning the properties that had been grabbed from the Asians, coupled with the privatization and liberalization of policies that boosted the economy. In the late 80s, the NRM government fully adopted the free market approach that is still prevailing 30 years later and has led to considerable growth. What many Ugandans don't know is that if Amin had not expelled the Asians, hopefully, such devastating breakdown and dislocation of the economy would have not happened, and Uganda would have been far better today. Today, a lot that is being done should have been done in the 1970s. That is all we had for you today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch my news updates and other programs here on New Vision TV by visiting our website, which is newvision.co.ug/video. You can also follow us on social media. Facebook is the New Vision, Twitter is @NewVisionWire, Instagram is @NewVisionWire, and our YouTube channel is New Vision TV. Catch up with me on my Twitter handle. I am Ruth the Voice. I have to say good night, but let me end with a fact file.